Well, welcome viewers. Count Straight, Dr. J.W. Ayoub, pro-theologist. We're studying how to become a man in a feminized culture, which is really important at this stage because everything's so confused. Episode 11, a man who cannot say no will never own his yes. A man who cannot say no will never own his yes. And a weak yes is often just fear wearing the mask of agreement. A man who cannot say no becomes governed by pressure, approval, guilt, and fear. His yes loses value because it is no longer chosen from conviction. A real man protects his yes by learning to say no with clarity, calmness, and consequence. Teaching point number 1. When a man has no boundary, everyone else's urgency becomes his assignment. He becomes overextended, resentful, tired, and internally divided. He says yes to avoid disappointment, conflict, rejection, or criticism. But every false yes takes authority away from his own life. Says yes while internally resisting. He feels guilty for having limits. He allows others to define his priorities. He becomes exhausted through over-availability. He confuses approval with respect. Teaching point number 2, viewers. A real no protects purpose, order, and masculine authority. Saying no is not cruelty when it is governed by wisdom. It is structure. It tells people where the line is, what the priority is, and what the man is responsible for. A calm no prevents chaos from entering his time, money, body, household, and mission. No protects time from misuse. No protects money from emotional spending. No protects relationships from unhealthy access. No protects energy from unnecessary demands. No protects purpose from distraction. Teaching point number 3, viewers. A man's yes only has strength when his no has weight. If a man says yes to everything, his yes becomes cheap. People trust his commitment because it may only be fear, guilt, or pressure speaking. But when a man says no, when he can say no, his yes becomes deliberate. It has weight because it comes from choice, not weakness. Yes, his promises become more reliable. His commitments become more focused. His standards become cleaner. His leadership becomes clearer. His identity becomes less negotiable. And here's a practical example, viewers. A man is asked to help again after already being drained, behind on his own responsibilities, and resentful from previous overcommitments. His old pattern is to say yes, complain later, blame others for using him. His new standard is simple. He pauses, accesses capacity, and answers clearly, no, I can't take that on. He does not over-explain. He does not apologize for having order. He protects his yes by honoring his no. Here's a reflection question, viewers, as we try to help men become men, and boys as well, in a feminized culture. Where am I saying yes from fear instead of conviction? Just ask yourself, where are you saying yes from fear instead of conviction? This is why and some things you need to. This is a why not question. If you say yes instead of no, or if you say no instead of yes, if you say no instead of yes, they'll be upset with me. That's a possibility in why you say yes. You might say yes because I don't want to look selfish. Or you might say yes because it's easier just to say yes instead of honoring yourself. Why? Well, you might fear rejection. You might have a need for approval, saying yes instead of no. Or you may have weak boundary formation, and that'll cause you to say yes instead of no. So let's take some immediate action. Today, identify one unnecessary obligation, request, habit, or access point that is draining your order. Say no clearly, without aggression and without over-explaining. Just say no. Here's a proverb and a principle before we close. Better is the man who guards the gate of his life than the man who opens every door and calls the invasion kindness. For the wise man weighs his yes, and his no stands like a wall before disorder. Beautiful proverb. So in closing, viewers, every false yes becomes a debt your future must pay. If you keep agreeing against conviction, your life will be spent serving pressure instead of purpose. If you learn to say with clarity, if you learn to say no with clarity, your yes will regain its strength, weight, and honor. A boy agrees to be accepted, but a man chooses what is worthy of his commitment. And that's the difference. That's how men and boys become men in a feminized culture. I'm Dr. J.W. Ayoub. I'll see you in the next episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Very simple teachings. Comment and encourage me to continue. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.